Hi, this is Louise from Husqvarna Viking with the Designer Sapphire 85 sewing and embroidery machine. I'm going to show you an amazing feature, the Joy of Sewing Advisor, which will help you easily set up your machine for the fabric and technique you want to use. For instance, we can select a medium woven fabric and a seam and overcast stitch. Let's just find that there. Yep. Instructions for the technique you've chosen pop up at the bottom of the screen. The correct stitch is selected for the fabric and technique, and the fabric type is shown in the top left corner. The machine automatically selects the correct stitch width, length and tension settings for the fabric. Foot pressure is adjusted and can be accessed with the switch on the tension display. It also shows the correct presser foot to use, the size and type of needle, and whether you need stabilizer. So what happens if we change the fabric? We go back to the home screen. This time we select medium stretch from the list of fabrics we've got there. There we go. And the same technique as before, seam and overcast. You can see the stitch has changed as well as the recommended presser foot. The fabric selected is shown with a different needle recommendation, and you can see the stitch width, length and tension are all automatically adjusted for the change in fabric. How easy is that? We're now going to take a look at how our exclusive sensor system helps you sew with different types and weights of fabric. So pop my foot control on the table there. I'm going to select a straight stitch, and I'm going to need to change the fabric. I'm set up for medium stretch and I've got a medium weight woven twill here. So if I press the fabric icon, it takes me back to the home screen. I can then select woven medium and get back to the stitch screen again. You can see it's changed to the correct settings for the stitch. I'm going to fold this in half and put it under the presser foot. Move bits of thread out of the way. There we go. There's no need to lower the foot. I can just tap on the foot control and it lowers automatically. If you need to adjust the positioning, just press the foot down button. The foot will lift slightly. You can move your fabric into place and drop it back down again. And as I sew, the machine can now sense the thickness of the fabric and adjust accordingly. And get to the end. So now I can cut the thread and the presser foot will lift automatically. Just take the work straight out. Sometimes we need a bit of extra space to get bulky fabrics under the presser foot. The exclusive sensor system helps with this too. If we press the foot up button, the presser foot goes to the extra lift position and the feed dogs drop out of the way to avoid snagging. Press it again and the foot returns to normal height. Let's see how the sensor foot extra lift actually works in practice. So I have here some knitted fleece fabric which I'm going to fold into quarters, make it nice and thick, and then we need to press the foot up button for the extra lift and to drop the feed dogs out the way. With the fabric underneath, then press foot down, activate needle down, and the foot comes up to the hover position. So that means we can now turn the fabric whichever way we want. As we sew, the constant adjustment of the sensor system means that the fabric feeds and pivots easily. So on this thickness of fabric, it hovers far higher than if you were using woven cotton, for instance, as the machine has actually sensed the thickness of the fabric under the foot. You can see how easily it pivots without catching the presser foot on the fabric, so really useful for things like applique as well, or precise corners and dressmaking. And as we sew off the edge, you can really see the change in the foot height as it drops off. So it's a really fantastic feature of this machine which will make your sewing so much easier. We're trying lots of different fabric combinations here with the sensor system. I've got a layer of quilting cotton with some wadding, no backing, the significance of which will become apparent. So let's just get that in the right position. We want foot down. Needle down is already set from the previous one I did, and we'll just do some sewing and pivoting and see how that performs. But notice, even though there is just wadding underneath and no backing, the machine's still feeding normally. There's no snagging of the wadding, and that's all down to the design of the feed teeth and the box feeding system. So yeah, we'll just do a few more lines of this, and then we'll take it out and have a look and see what it looks like. And go off the edge and cut the thread. There we are. Okay, perfectly smooth on the back look and on the top. Fabulous. Now we're going to try the sensor system with denim. Okay, it's actually a stretch denim. Don't think that's going to matter too much. I'm going to start sewing on a single thickness. So that's our foot down and needle down. Okay, so just sewing along, and I'm going to stop and I'm going to put a pleat in there. So we will be going from a single thickness up over that ridge and onto 3 thicknesses. There we go. And back and off the other side again onto single. And we'll do the whole process again. Put in a pleat, sew over the top of it and back down the other side. And we can keep doing that. The sensor system is working out that we're going onto a thicker piece of fabric and compensating accordingly. And it will just sew without making any difference to the stitching at all. This will be the last one. I think that's enough, and we'll just cut the thread. There we go. So if we have a look at the stitching, perfectly good on the top and just as good on the bottom. And actually, when you look at where the thread's cut, you can see there's 2 little tails. It's actually left enough for you to actually sew those in if you need to. So yeah, depending on whether it's a double-sided piece of work, you can do that. Now we see how the machine performs with a jeans hem. I'm going to set the fabric to woven heavy. And you can see the difference in the needle recommendation there. And I'm going to fold in half and make a mock flat fell seam, like you'd see on jeans. Just stitch that lining up with the right hand edge of the presser foot and cut. So now I'm going to fold to one side to get that double stitched effect, minding the threads that are in the way. And I'm going to line up my original line of stitching with the left hand edge of the foot this time, just down there. Okay, so that's our mock flat fell seam. So there's 3 layers in that seam. So now I'm going to fold up the hem once and twice and back to the machine. So that's unravelling. So press foot down and needle down. So that's 3 layers to start with for the hem. And when we get to the middle, we'll be going through 9 layers. And just take it slowly. That's it, gone over that, no problem at all, and back onto the 3. So even at slow speeds, the power of that needle will go through quite a thickness of fabric. There you go, that's the front and the back. Try and show you the thickness of it. I don't know if you'll see that on the camera. There we go. So I've also got a sample of the same denim which I made earlier. That's actually 16 layers, and it's sewed through all of that, and it's so thick, in actual fact I need the extra presser foot lift to get it under the foot. And similarly, yeah, look at that. Similarly, I've got one made from quilting cotton as well, and there's actually 32 layers in there, and again it's so thick that you actually need the extra presser foot lift. So all this is possible with the pulsating piercing power of this machine, and it's all part of what we call the exclusive sensor system, and that's just only on Husqvarna Viking.
If you would like any further information about the machine, please do get in touch. You can visit our website where you'll be able to find your local dealer who will also be able to help you with any more information you need.